been a back-and-forth game so far with no ground given through the first half. Third quarter start here now.
Al Jefferson doing all sorts of things. He's got 10 points. He's picked up 1 dime. He was a man on a mission in the first half. He let it all hang out.
You know, I'm interested to see how much he's got left in the tank for the second half. I tell you, the Jazz front office has done a really nice job in Utah. They drafted some excellent-looking young players the last few years. Derek Favors, Cantor, Burks, Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
And these are guys who have bright futures in the NBA, and it's just a matter of them growing together.
Our second half of basketball, and presented by Gatorade. Let's see who's all fueled up and on the floor to start the third. So on the floor for Utah. At the 4 and 5, Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson. Jamal Tinsley is out there at 4, and it's Williams at the 3 spot. Here's Millsap. And another shot, and it's blocked by Ibaka.
Ugly start to this second half, guys. They've missed all 4 of their shot attempts.
That's good. And a nice assist from Durant. And it's a 6-point Thunder lead. No, Steve, you're right on the money. You see glimpses from this young group all the time. You figure it's just a matter of time before Clark the Jazz are too deep at every position. They've made great headway.
Yeah, they really have, Kevin. They look poised to me to return to the Western Conference power that they were for the better part of 2 decades. So I think it's a great job, terrific job, really, of bringing in some young talent and developing that talent.
And there's the 3-second violation.
Jazz ball!
Well, you need good passing from your forwards as much as you do from your guards. These are small forwards leading the way in assists. 5th, Kevin Durant.
The passes we've seen some of these guys make from the wing are outstanding. Truly gifted distributors.
Yeah, and one of the passes they really need to prioritize and be able to make is that entry pass, getting that ball inside, accurately throwing it into the low post. Really a bit of a lost art in today's game.
Our timeout called by Oklahoma City. It's game number 2 of the season versus the Jazz 4.
Yeah, and it seemed like the difference in that game, guys, was the defensive effort. They forced a lot of turnovers, and that allowed them to get out and get some easy looks in transition.
And the Thunder making a switch here. Martin's checked in. That'll be a 5-second call.
And now a look at where Kevin Durant sits in the rankings. 2nd in scoring, 2nd in free throw percentage, and his 3-point field goal accuracy has been really impressive. He's ranked in the top 15.
And, Steve, you look at that scoring average. I mean, he's been fantastic. Absolutely one of the most dangerous, lethal scorers in the NBA right now.
Well, let's go back to what Steve just said. Such a strong defensive performance they turned in last time.
Well, you know what was remarkable about it, Kevin, was how many turnovers there were. I mean, it wasn't all about defense. There was some sloppy ball handling taking place on the other side, too.
The Thunder shooting their 3rd and 4th free throw shots of the night.
Yeah, this is a very good free throw shooting team, guys. I mean, you look at the numbers, impressive.
And, guys, that's really an upgrade over how they shot last season. Not a huge upgrade, but an upgrade nonetheless.
That one falls, so he hits both of them.
You know, it's hard to believe, but they say Westbrook couldn't dunk until his senior year in high school. And how he's one of the best point guards in terms of dunking the ball that we've ever seen in this league. Incredible strength and quickness. Just explodes to the rim.
Here's Jefferson. Shot is off. So the Thunder will take it the other way. They come into this having outplayed Phoenix the last game.
And boy, did they protect the basket well in that one. They kept a lot of bodies down low. The rotations were solid. And it paid off with a lot of blocks in that game.
Yeah, they really wanted to establish that intimidation factor. And Steve, I think they did so by devoting a lot of manpower to the low post.
Right side Millsap. And Durant with the block. Outside Westbrook. Westbrook gets a screen from Ibaka. And that one's good. Westbrook's got 10 points. And for Westbrook, with strength, quickness, leaping ability, he's got the tools to get to the rim, but it's also about that motor. His motor never stops.
No, and sometimes it does need to stop or at least idle down, but you love it. You would much rather have a guy that you have to turn down than you have to turn on. He's always on, hot wire. And perhaps part of his growth will be being able to manage that a little bit better. He's a north and south guy. He's not only coming at you, he's looking to go through you.
So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and 2 shots coming up. And now let's check in with Damon Bruce, who's got an update for us. Damon?
All right, Kevin, let's see what's happening around the NBA right now. The Heat in a tight one against the Portland Trail Blazers. A 2-point game is the third quarter now being played. LeBron is their leading scorer. Out in Toronto, the Raptors are ahead against the Nuggets. Both teams right in it in the fourth quarter. That'll do it for us in the studio. Now, let's get you back to your game. Guys?
Great update, Damon. Thank you.
Boy, some great matchups, huh, guys? It's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in some of these games. And you think about Serge Ibaka playing for years with the Spanish national team. He's actually from Zaire, but as a Spanish citizen, he's played on that national team in Spain, teammates with the Gasol brothers. Talk about a scary front court. He is always so in control, guys. Even when he's going hard to the hoop, very skilled finisher.
Westbrook dishes to Perkins. Martin. The dish now to Ibaka. Outside Westbrook. Dishes it to Durant. Outside Westbrook. The 3. That's good. And a nice assist from Durant. Durant's got 3 assists now in this one.
And I'll tell you what, they might want to pay a little more attention to him defensively than they did on that last trip.
Now, here's Burks, covered by Martin. Favors can't get it to go. And going back to Ibaka, who speaks 4 languages, English, French, Italian, and Lingala.
A world citizen in any way you look at it, but Thunder fans are hoping to keep him settled down in Oklahoma City for a long time.
And Westbrook, here we go. Over Watson, and Westbrook gets it to go. Westbrook's got 9 points now in just the second half. Watson kicks to Kansas. Elbow shot, and he beat the buzzer, but it's no good. 12 through 3/4 of play, down double digits. It may be difficult to overcome. Thunder lead by 10. And we're coming right back. Be sure to stay with us as we get started for the fourth.
Coming up this Thursday night, Chris Paul and the Los Angeles Clippers take on Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. Fourth quarter action starting up, and we're going to send it over to Doris Berg for the Sprite Uncontainable Game segment. Doris?
Hi, guys. Well, it was the stretch by the Thunder that garners the uncontainable game today. It was a tale of 2 halves as they came out a completely different team from halftime and took control of the third quarter. Right now, that looks to be the deciding factor in this one.
Doris, thank you. That was quite a run they had. Quite exemplary of what we think of when we think about that turning point. Definitely a Sprite uncontainable game moment.
Yeah, you won't get any argument from me, Kevin. It was as big a factor in this game as anything. You know, when a team builds up that much momentum, it just becomes so hard to turn the tide back around.
Yeah, Steve, they just kept the throttle down. They sensed an area of weakness and then just continued to exploit it, never letting up.
So with Westbrook on the bench, this is who Scott Brooks has out there. Sefolosha and Durant fill out the wings. Nick Collison out there with Hasheem Thabeet, and it's Maynard in at the point guard. Back to Williams. He passes to Jefferson. It's hauled in by Collison. Collison's got 4 rebounds now tonight. Sefolosha passes to Maynard. Collison dishes to Maynard. Tinsley covering. Good look. And there's another one for the Thunder. Jazz trail by 14. Outside Williams. Here's Tinsley. Puts the lead pass in front of him. And that one's good. Millsap.
Well, he's been scoring pretty well on just a few attempts. It might help him out if he was a bit more assertive.
Time call here. The Thunder decide to talk it over.
Well, Thunder head coach Scott Brooks had some pretty good days in his NBA career. Actually went undrafted out of UC Irvine, but ended up playing in the CBA and then played 8 8 or 9 years in the NBA. Ended up winning a title with Houston in 1994.
A moment to check in with Doris Burke. Doris?
Hi, guys. I had a chance to find out what Scott Brooks was discussing with his players. He laid one thing out there for them, saying, now is the time to eliminate any chance of a mistake. We've got a good lead. Don't take any unnecessary risks or commit a silly foul. Smart basketball from here on out.
Well, you mentioned Coach Brooks and his background as a point guard. You see a lot of former point guards, I think, Steve, becoming head coaches.
That's true, Kevin. You think about the guys who have had to lead teams as point guards. It's a natural transition for them to go into coaching. They're used to directing traffic. They're used to kind of figuring things out during a game, so they have to think their way through a contest. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that point guards sometimes make good coaches. The thing that I like about Russell Westbrook is that he steadily improves each year. He's so devastating as a penetrator and a finisher in transition. And his jump shot is getting better, too. He's not elite, but it's gotten to the point where he can hit it consistently. And that's why he's such an amazing scorer.
You know, he got one step ahead of the defense on that one. Excellent job.
Here's Tinsley. He's covered by Westbrook. Here's Jefferson. Can't hit. Ibaka with some nice D. And when you see Westbrook pull up into that jumper, he gets wide open.
Well, you know the reason why. Defenders have to play him for the drive, so they're 2 steps off of him usually. So anytime he drives or attempts to drive, he can pull up and get space for that jumper pretty much when he wants to.
Left side, Williams kicks to Jefferson. Looking to get back on track here. Here's Favors, and their work on the board pays off with the second chance points.
You don't need much range to hit from that distance, Kevin.
Westbrook drives in. Ibaka, defended by Jefferson. The kick out to Westbrook, and it's going to be out of bounds. The Jazz will take it.
Such a careless pass. You've got to keep your head in the game here.
A little over 2.5 minutes have passed here in the fourth quarter. Now the pass to Jefferson. And Utah again with the ball.
Boy, what a great job of getting into the teeth of the defense and scoring in the paint.
That's been their main point of attack. I mean, get the ball deep and try to score from in tight rather than rely on their outside shooting. I mean, that's a more consistent way to score. Take it inside.
Taking 2 shots.
The first one falls.
Well, there are quite a few stars who can lay claim to the title right now, but for you guys, who ranks as the true king of slam in the NBA right now? I know for me it's got to be Blake Griffin. The dunks he had this past season were just off the charts.
Well, Steve, to answer the question you posed, I think I might have to go with Blake Griffin, but only on, you know, the acrobatic circus-like feel it gives all of his dunks, the incredible torque that he musters up. Throw that thing down and do it with such a ferocious feel. But that's not saying that I think he's on his way to superstardom. I think there are a lot of parts of his game he's got to work on, and work on a lot. But in terms of just his slam dunking, that probably stands out, and Blake would be up top of my list.
Yeah, Kevin, you make a great point. I mean, you know, no question Blake Griffin is the best dunker in the game, but until he develops that consistent jump shot, he gets to the point like Karl Malone did, where he can turn and shoot over the top of people. He's not going to be a complete player. He's already a great player, but to become a superstar, he needs to expand his game.
Utah calls timeout. They trail by 11. There's 1:40 left in the fourth quarter. Paul Millsap's checked in for the Jazz. There's 1:40 left here in the fourth quarter. Good on the shot.
Beautifully executed play there to get that basket.
The Thunder leading by 9. And the whistle blows in the backcourt violation. He went over and back.
Utah ball.